Now, you guys need to stop doing this when you're playing six max. And there's really two things I'm going to go over here today. And believe me, we got a really, really good one to go over as well, where I made some pretty aggressive plays. You're definitely going to want to stick around to the end because, yeah, it's going to get good. But really, the first thing I want to talk about here is, you know, it's really good to know different strategies, right? GTO, all that nonsense. But the reality is, as you move up in stakes, players are going to get better. And I think a lot of people don't talk about this, especially for like online. The thing is, you can't just stick to one strategy. People are going to pick up on that. They're going to be like, okay, this guy's just sitting back, waiting for hands, blah, blah, blah. The reality is, when you're playing against better opponents, you have to just outplay them. And in order to outplay them, you got to be thrown in at those bluffs, okay? There's going to be times where your bluffs aren't going to get through, but if you're really opening up your game, you're going to start taking things to a whole nother level. And believe me, I'm not saying that you shouldn't understand GTO and different strategies, but you eventually want to exploit the people who are using these and kind of use it against them. And I know this is a little bit it might be a little bit hard to understand, but we also have a community, and if you guys are not in there right now, I don't know what you're doing, man. It's going to be in the pinned comments. Definitely recommend you get it in it. Also, as we're getting more into this, if you guys could tap the like on this, and let's continue diving into this. But the second thing is really, other than outplaying people and bluffing, you do want to be aggressive like all the time, right? You're going to see me be super aggressive in this one, probably to the point of a little bit too much. But, the thing is, when I play, I just like to mix things up. It's the way that I approach. And if I notice a lot of people at the table are playing kind of just like passive, then yeah, I'm going to definitely adjust. So you definitely want to adjust to the table. And typically when you're playing online, it's going to take you 20 to 30 minutes to figure out how people are playing. And then that's when you could start making some decisions. Do you want to play a little bit more passive because everyone's being aggressive, and then vice versa? You kind of like do the opposite. But a lot of nuance to this, guys. Another thing that I definitely recommend is you scale back on tables as well. Like, you really don't need to be playing more than a couple at a time, especially when you get up to like a certain, a stake. If you're playing lower games, I also recommend you kind of push yourself a little bit. Maybe play one level higher, because the reality is players don't get a whole lot better. If you're playing a certain level and you move up one, it's not going to be too much of a difference. When you get up to these kind of games in the next couple levels, players do get better. So, you have to, kind of factor that in. But you should be pushing yourself, because when you're playing against better opponents, it's going to make you better simultaneously. You're not always going to, get it right, like I said, but it will open things up for you. In this hand, we had an ace-3 suited, just, absolutely decided to mix it up here against player 6. Typically, this would usually be just a call, but I decided to, kick it up to the 42-50 piece. And we got a pretty interesting flop here. We do have the diamond draw. And instead of just going with a continuation, I just went for the, yeah, man, we just went for it right there. Pretty wild. We would have hit the ace on the turn, which could have been good if that guy called us with a hand like, maybe like king jack suited or something. I don't know. I've seen people make some calls like that, but whatever. We took it down, and it is what it is. Next hand, we got an ace queen right here. Gonna open this one up. Player 4 is going to raise us, and I was kind of like at a decision in this one where, I was like, all right, let's do this. That's kind of how I was feeling about it anyways. Kind of hoping this guy was going to make a fold, but, if he calls us, he calls us. If we're up against ace king, we're up against ace king. If we're up against hands like probably not pocket queens, there could be some kings in this, but he was waiting so long, this player here, player 4, to make this decision, that I felt like we were probably good right here. Actually thinking he had maybe like a mid-pocket pair, maybe jacks, tens, things like that. I could see jacks kind of making this play. And you know what? If he wants to call with jacks or whatever, let's do it. Let's do it. But he actually had the same hand as us, okay? And it's just going to end up being a split pot. Kind of funny how that one worked out. Now, I was glad he didn't have pocket tens or pocket jacks right there, because we would have been in a lot of pain right there, you know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys. I am showing you the way I play. It's the way I play, and it's the way I approach playing. And it's a little bit different, because really for me, the goal when I'm playing is to just exploit players that are using strategies. I've been playing this game long enough now where I'm confident in, the plays that I make. This one was a little bit out there, though. This session was a little bit out there. I was being a little bit too hyper aggressive. Fortunately, though, we are going to get most of these, plays through. But like I said, definitely continue sticking around to the end here. Also, if you have any questions, comments, things like that, feel free to message me and I'll, get back to you when I can. But we are doing this, guys. We are doing this. All right, player 5 raised it up here, and look at this flop, man. Well, we flopped the straight. I mean, this doesn't happen very often, and kind of regret the way I played this one. I jammed on this guy, which I think was actually pretty funny. Targeting hands like, maybe some mid-pocket pairs that, think maybe I'm just shoving on a flush draw or something. The way I was playing in this, people could see that I was being like hyper aggressive. So I figured this one actually might work. I was thinking player 5 might actually make this call, with really any overpair. I think even an ace king or an ace queen might make a call here. Just try to keeping me honest. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, he's going to let it run down a little bit here. Just, tick tock, tick tock. Will he make the call? No, he didn't. Let's see what that turn would have been. Would have been a 5. It is what it is, but I do kind of regret the way I played that one. It was just a little bit out there. But, people could see how I've been playing, just really being aggressive in this one. Basically hyper aggressive, okay? It's kind of the way I was doing it. I don't always play like this, but I still am trying to make a couple points to you guys. As far as probably some reasons that you're just not finding any consistency. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think you probably just need to look at things a little bit different. You got to open your game up a little bit more. Got to be bluffing. You got to be aggressive. And you have to exploit players nowadays that are using GTO and, similar tactics when they're playing. When you start doing things like that, man, I'm telling you, it gets really fun. You start to just, you start making plays, Some people might disagree with what I'm saying, but, if you really think about anybody who plays at a higher level, they bluff, you know what I mean? So you can't approach this robotically, and you can't just approach it from a GTO standpoint. You have to mix things up. And that's really the missing ingredient for a lot of players. And you're just going to find yourself you'll get to a certain point of playing where you're just going to be like a break-even or slightly losing player if you don't at least listen to what I'm saying a little bit here, guys. You're going to hit a wall. It happened to me, definitely happened to me a long time ago. Then I just started to understand and approach things a little bit different, which is why, kind of hinting at this again, man, get in that community in the pinned comment, okay? We'll talk. All right, King 10 here. I think I raised this one up. Let's see. Still going to get good, guys, so definitely stick around with me to the end here. All right, we just kicked it up to the 15 piece. All right, he folded it. On to the next one. But extremely bluffy in this one. That's how I was playing. All right, this hand right here was a little bit out there. We had a monster. The 6-5 offsuit. I mean, it's a monster. Okay. All right. Player 4 is going to raise it up here, and for whatever reason, I was like, okay. Me and him had a little history already with that ace queen. I was like, maybe you're doing the same thing here. A couple overcards, maybe like an ace king, maybe another ace queen suited type of hand. So yeah, I'm gonna flat this, and hopefully, we get something right. But anyways, we are gonna make a call here, and hope you guys are ready for this one right here. Another kind of interesting play I made, a little bit unorthodox. Okay. Player 5 is going to fold it, and it's going to come back to us. And we are going to get a piece of this. It's not going to be top pair, but we did hit the 6. So, we have a little history here. Player 4, made that prior play with, ace queen. So
our pair of sixes could be good here, and this is how I approach playing this one. He's going to throw, I think, a 50 piece out there. Now, I could have just continued here, which would have been maybe reasonable. This didn't feel to me, I mean, I just kind of went with like a gut feeling, and sometimes you have to be that way when you play. I know that sounds a little bit out there, but sometimes you got to go with those gut feelings. Anyways, once again here, coming over the top, being super aggressive, hyper aggressive. Coming back to player 4, and really on this one, guys, I was kind of just hoping he would muck this one so we could take it down, and we did. All right, so we got him off the hand. Turn card would have been a 4, which actually would have been a good card. We would have had more outs going to the river there, 3, 5, or 6. You know, if maybe he had like an overpair there or ace-jack or something, you know, but whatever. We took it down. All right, I think the next couple of hands we folded here, but still some more good spots coming up here, and yeah, I mean, we're just doing our thing right now, guys. We're just doing this, okay? We are doing this. Staying strong. Taking down pots. But staying strong at the same time. I kind of have a little bit of a pot brewing right here between player 4 and player 5. All right, looks like player 4 might time out on this one. Player 5 put out a decent sizing here, so he was probably repping something pretty good. And yeah, I think player 4 is actually going to time out right here. Kind of annoying when people do that, but maybe player 5 didn't mind it because he is going to take that one down. So, all right, player 4, he left. We got somebody new, and, you know, the game continues, as they say. All right, 6-7 offsuit. You know, this one I think I just let go, expecting a button raise here. A pretty standard play. Never mind. I kicked it up here. We kicked it up to the 45 piece. Man, I was being so aggressive in this one, guys. Hope you're enjoying some of these plays, man. All right, ace-5 off. This is definitely a hand I'm going to play in the small. And I believe if you're looking at this from like a GTO standpoint, I'm pretty sure you're calling this as well. And if it folds around to the button, you could also argue making a raise here. If the button raises, you could re-raise, mix it up a little bit. But no, that's not what happened. So we're going to kick it up to the 15 piece here. Player 3 is going to make the call. And not really a good flop, but not really a bad one either. A lot of the time, ace-high could be good here. I would expect player 3 to just fold this, you know. If he calls, a little bit worrisome. You know, we'll see. All right, so he did make the call, and I kind of raised the white flag here on the turn. I thought about continuing to go for it, but what are we going for? I really thought that continuation would have got him to fold. River card was an 8. You know, if he was floating this with some weird straight draws, you know, he's got us, but he put out a good sizing there on the river. I just gave it to him. I think it was probably a disciplined fold. Kind of another thing too, man, like when you can't get something through, you know, or if something seems a little fishy, sometimes just good to let it go, and that's exactly what I did right there. So I think that was the correct play anyways. All right, check this one out, man. Another one where we getting a little bit out of line right here with a 5-4 offsuit. Really mixing things up in this one, but I'll tell you what, I was having a lot of fun, you know. Definitely a lot of fun mixing it up. And we paired the 4. It's like, oh yeah, we got the goods right here, right? This is another spot where am I just going to be super aggressive? Am I just going to go for it? What am I going to do, you know? What am I going to do? Believe player 6 is going to check it over to us, and I think that you guys probably noticed by the way I'm playing at this point, there are no checks. I shoved. I just went for a shove on this with a pair of 4s. I mean, I'll tell you what, guys. This was just one of those sessions where, you know, we're just gonna grip it and rip it. Okay, we're just gripping it and ripping it. Okay, and we took down another one right there, and
To be fair, like I'm kind of like looking at all of the situations we've had in this one, and I don't really think I've had like, other than ace queen, pretty much everything's been a bluff. I mean, oh, and we flopped that ace three earlier. Okay, but we still got some more good plays coming up, man. So hope you guys are enjoying it. All right, Jack Queen offsuit. Um, this hand is definitely a tricky one to play. A lot of the time, when it's suited, it's obviously a lot better. But the way I've been playing this entire one, we're gonna see a flop with it. And you guys probably aren't gonna be expecting this play coming up. I think player six is gonna raise this to, yeah, maybe like to the 60 piece with some BBQ on it, 60 piece chicken nug, and I'm gonna make a call. I could have got away from this, but I decided to do it. So player six, don't really have a lot of history on him at the table. I mean, he's been playing for just a little bit. He's been pretty tight too. And this was a very risky play that we're gonna make here. I will say that. Player five is gonna fold it. And player six could be doing this with a couple of overcards, but he could have a pair. This board, not good. He checked it pretty quick, and this is the only reason I made this play. When he checked it that quick, it just told me like, okay, you probably don't have anything. So now maybe I could start repping something, and that's exactly what I did here. Put out a pretty nice sizing here. I think it was like half the pot, 65 piece. Targeting those overcards. And like I said, he checked it so quick. We got him off it, guys. And another one taken down on a bluff. Turn card wouldn't have helped at all either. And kind of bringing things up here to the final situation where we had pocket threes. But just a recap on all this. I know that I've been talking a lot, but we've just had so many bluffs in this one that what I'm trying to get at here is what you need to stop doing is just playing a GTO type of style and just having that mindset and approach. You want to be bluffing, you want to be aggressive, and probably not as aggressive as I played in this one, but you don't want to be predictable. When you're a little bit unpredictable at the table, a lot of the time it's going to actually help you, because when you get those monster hands, you'll be in a spot where players are going to call you down because they probably don't believe you just because, you've been unpredictable, bluffing, doing things a little bit different. It's always good to understand GTO and all the concepts, guys, but at the end of the day, this is a game where you're just trying to outplay the opponents at the table. That's what you should be focused on. Also play less tables. I really think 2 at a time is kind of like the sweet spot. With that said, if you're not subscribed yet, please do that. Check out the pinned comment for the community. Thanks for watching this. We'll see you in the next one.